Hey everyone, treasure seekers, and yeah, today we're going to talk about a coin that I have never really brought up onto this channel, and it's actually more of a significant date that it really leads to, and that's going to be the 1965 Roosevelt dime. Now, I've talked about a couple of the other coins, for example, the 65 quarter, as being one of those significant coins that you really have to pay close attention to because it is the first date outside of the what I call the 90% silver standard issued coins, which came to an end in 1964. As we all know, the US Mint found out that, hey, you know what, it's just way too expensive to continuously mint coins in this precious alloy. So they went ahead, changed everything up. In 1965, they went with a copper nickel clad composition. Okay, love it or hate it, all right, it was going to be the replacement. So probably the least loved coin in US coins today is probably the Roosevelt dime. So after nearly 1,400 videos on my channel, we are now going to dive into the 1965 Rosie dime. And I tell you what, there is a lot more going on with this date than what meets the eye. It is undersearched, it is underappreciated, and it's underrated. So get ready to embark on what is going to be a pretty interesting journey. Again, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for instant notification. If you haven't done so already, all of the wonderful support goes a long way. So I want to thank you guys again for joining in on this beautiful Saturday evening. Let's go ahead and check out what this dime is all about, shall we? Alright, so like I normally do on all my videos where I spotlight a specific date of coin, alright, I like to talk about, first and foremost, just a few general things about the coin itself, mintages, grade values. I mean, how high does this thing have to grade for it to be worth anything more than a dime, right? There are people that love collecting these based off of solely the top grade. So we're going to take a look at that. All right. So first and foremost, we got Mr. John Sinnock representing this dime with Mr. Roosevelt on the obverse, and then on the reverse of the coin, you have the torch along with the olive sprig and all that great stuff. It is truly a design that came way back in the 40s. Okay, so it's an early looking, even to this day, design representation of that era. Okay, that's the thing I like most about it. But some would say that this dime is ready for a huge upgrade as far as design. That may happen here soon. Okay, and maybe that'll give more spotlight to this particular series. Again, it is super underrated. So in 1965, the U.S. Mint had only produced one type of coin coming from the Mint of Philadelphia. Okay, so there is no Denver Mint. There is a special mint set coin, again, that is outside of what I just said. It's not going to come up in the vein of this conversation because it's not a business strike coin. It is the proof type replacement of that time. All right. So there is absolutely no shortage of the 65 Philadelphia. Okay, there's no mint mark. Okay, generally the mint mark would be right here on a Roosevelt dime. But 1,652,140,570 to the button were made from the Philadelphia Mint. All right, so quite plentiful out there. There is one interesting statistic in relation to this massive mintage of this particular date of coin that you need to know about. Okay, it's very important. But this coin right here, graded, is actually pretty tough in spite of the huge mintage figures. Now, if we're going to get into the actual grades, it helps to know what grading is. Okay, so people can send off their coins, whether it's new or old, to grading companies. Okay, we got PCGS like you see on this screen here. We also have NGC, Annex, ICG, SEGS. You have a couple of different companies that you could kind of rely upon to get your coin authenticated. Is it clean? Is it fake? Is it the real deal? Is it a high grade? Who knows? Now, as you guys know, people pay top money for the highest possible grades. Okay, we call these guys whales. Well, not only that, they are registry set participants. Okay, so companies like PCGS and NGC, what they do is they host these registry set building opportunities. Okay, so you could assemble the finest set of a specific series, like Roosevelt dimes in this case, or you could do low balls, or you could do anything in between. But the people that assemble the highest possible tiered set would go out and actually bounty for some of the highest grade coins. Now, for this particular date, the highest assigned grade by PCGS, we'll just use that company because they are the most established in the coin grading game, is Mid-State 68 full bands, or full torch, all right, in which only 3 are known to exist at that particular grade level. So it's a pretty exclusive company. Now, full band simply means that you have a fully defined, fully struck reverse on this coin, where you get full separation lines on the top and bottom set of bands on the reverse of the coin. Okay, and that falls on the torch. Now, in terms of grading, here's how tough it is to find one with full bands. Okay, so we've established that over 1.6 billion of these coins were made. Right as of now, only less than 100 are graded with full bands, and that's across the board. It could be a Mid-State 62 full bands. That would be part of that statistic. So there's less than 100 of them that have been graded total population-wise with the fully defined reverse. Now, in terms of value, what can you expect to sell the highest graded example for, which is a 68 full bands? Well, one sold on eBay July 14th of 2018, you can look it up yourself, for $4,000, and that one is a Mid-State 68, so it's the coin that you see in front of you on screen. All right, so that is kind of like, at this point, the top end grade for a 1965 Roosevelt dime. It's pretty crazy. The coin's so small, commanding, so much money, but, when you have a couple bidders looking to add this coin to an already exclusive registry set, in which there were only 3 of this known, there's going to be a lot of bids flying around, okay? And the prices will get absolutely bonkers. All right, so that's the coin at a glance and the grading aspect of it. Now, I'm sorry to say that there are no major dye varieties known, but I think this is more of a byproduct that no one is really searching for. Okay, so we have a pretty nice double dye obverse in 1967. I mean, that one is quite substantial if you've never seen it before. But in 1965, there are no known dye varieties. No double dyes. Of course, there's no RPMs. Nothing of that sort. Okay, so these, again, are undersearched, overlooked quite often, and are prime for some sort of major discovery. Okay, so it just means that more people need to look through these. That first double dye obverse or reverse is going to be a huge discovery for this coin. Keeping in mind, it's the first date, first year of the copper-nickel clad composition for the Roosevelt dime. Now, I'm happy to say that there was a bevy of errors. I was more than surprised with all the data and research I had collected. We used Heritage Auctions, by the way, for all 9 error coins on the list. Okay, surprisingly, that's a pretty deep list of U.S. Mint errors that you could possibly find in your change. So keep an eye out for every single one of these. But what we did is we took the images, okay, from Heritage Auctions, okay, so all of the photo credits go to them. These are examples of coins that have sold within the last 15 years to get kind of your searching juices going. Take a look for these. Okay, so the first one that we have here is a 1965. Okay, they're all going to be 65. No big surprise there. So this one exhibits a die break on the obverse. Okay, it is a cud die break is what it's called. On the 11 o'clock position, this is an NGC Mid-State 65 example. As you can see, it's in this old kind of soap bar style slab with the older design hologram on the reverse and that label on there. But Upon closer examination, there's really not a whole lot to see other than this thing right here. So this is a piece of the die that had fallen off and is translated into kind of a blob on your coin. Alright, so keep an eye out for this. There are a few different types of die break cuts. Again, they are fully involved with the actual rim of the coin, and they can occur on the obverse or the reverse. So this one right here sold for $23 back in 2011 on Heritage Auctions. Alright, so the next one that we have here is a really nice off-center coin, okay, but it is a no-date Roosevelt dime. Is reported to be between a 65 and a 69, according to the listing. But it is 75% off-center, okay, it has no date, so you can't really determine what the date is on there. Off-center coins of this type are worth so much more money when you have a fully readable date. Now this one grades Annex Mint State 63, and this one sold for $26. Alright, so this coin with a fully readable date would be over $100. Alright, it's a tougher date for off-center coins. And that one sold in 2004, by the way. This is the oldest listing out of the bunch. Alright, so this is a neat one right here. We have a coin that had split after the strike. As you can tell on the obverse of this coin, the nickel layer had fallen off after it was struck. Alright, so you have a little bit of soft design devices on the front of this coin, but the back is fully struck on there. This one is a Annex Mint State 62 example. And this one sold for $34, January of 2018. Alright, so this is a coin probably that you would want to get graded. Annex is certainly a fine choice because it is affordable to use the services through them. But this is a pretty neat coin. So if you have anything that looks like it's a little bit coppery on the front or the back, you know, it could either be a split after strike, so the planchet had literally split in half, or perhaps it's just, you know, your coin might have an absence of a nickel plating on there. So it's just a fully featured copper look to it. So, all right. So this next one that we have here is going to be an example that is broad struck. Okay, so the coin, if you guys are not familiar with what a broad strike error is, okay, the coin was struck minus an actual collar. Okay, the collar usually holds the coin in. It also features the reading, okay, which is going to be the little grabby kind of lines that are on the edge of the coin. So if this thing was struck without a collar, then the coin will just kind of like ooze out and stretch out. This coin is probably the size between like a penny and a nickel. All right, it's that big. Plus, it's a little bit cupped also. All right, so it's kind of like a bowl shape. This one right here is an NGC Mint State 65, and this one sold for $84. Actually, just recently, April 15th of 2020 on Heritage Auctions. Pretty nice example there. All right, so this is kind of similar to a coin that we saw a few back. But here we have a coin that is partially missing the reverse clad layer, which happens when you have these planchets that are improperly annealed, or perhaps they're like an end of strip, where you don't get 100% full coverage of that nickel plating on the reverse or obverse. Then you have something like this, which is a pretty neat looking coin. This one is Annex graded Mint State 64, red-brown. Of course, they threw the red-brown in there because you have a fully functional, nearly 100% copper reverse with that plating missing. But this one sold for $94, April 15th of 2020. So this is another recent sale alongside the last one. All right, so here's a really nice off-center 65 right here. Okay, this is more like it. You can actually see a full readable date on there. This one was struck 35% off-center with a full date. It's an NGC Mint State 65 coin. And this one, to give you an idea of difference in value, sold for $138, April 15th of 2020. So we have another recent sale here. But that is a really cool coin. And again, these are widely collected solely on the fact that they have a fully readable date. Of course, the no date type of off-center coins are collected in their own right. They're just more affordable. All right, so this is a really nice example here. All right, so we're getting into the last few here, and they're all quite interesting. This particular coin is a special mint set coin. All right, so this is the only one of its type in here. More than likely, if you're going to find one of these, it's going to be in your special mint sets. So what we have here is something called a die adjustment strike error. So when the mint employees are kind of like testing the pressurization of the dies and the strike in the machinery, they'll throw in a few blanks into the striking chamber, and they're testing the pressure. Okay, so they're kind of like dialing it up or down depending on how much more pressure it needs. In this case, this one right here exhibits some weakening on the reverse. You can see it right here on the edge, and then even on the obverse. Usually on a die adjustment strike, you won't have fully upset rims on both the front and the back of the coin. So this is a really neat example, and you don't typically find mint errors through some of these like collector sets, like proof sets and SMS. But I have come across my fair share of some of these errors, okay, and they're actually very coveted and very valuable. So this one right here doesn't have an actual assigned grade value, it's just NGC certified. This one sold for $188, April 28th of 2013. All right, so hard to believe that that's 7 years ago, but a coin like this would still sell for as much money. Now, this is a really cool double denomination error. So what we have here is a 1965 Lincoln cent that was struck over a 1965 Roosevelt dime. All right, so this is a copper nickel clad planchet coin to begin with, which gives it its silvery color. And what you do have is design devices for both the penny and the Roosevelt dime all in one coin. So it's a really nice 11-cent coin is what they call it. This one is PCGS graded mint state 65, and it sold for $881.25, May of 2017. All right, I've talked about these before, and they are uber popular within the collecting community. And then finally, we're going to end it off on a coin that you should be looking for regardless. Okay, so this looks like just your run-of-the-mill 65 Rosie. However, again, let's keep in mind and remind ourselves that these coins were produced a year after they stopped making, guess what? 90% silver dimes. You guys are correct. Congratulations. So, what happens when you have a few leftover 90% composition planchets flying around? Well, you really don't think anything of it. You're sitting there sweeping the floor if you're a mint employee, or, you pick one up, you pick a few of them up, you take a look at it, you're like, oh, yeah, it's a dime planchet. You go ahead and throw it in with all the other dime planchets that are miraculously the new composition. And guess what? You have a couple of these bad boys that squeak out. They call these transitional metal errors. All right, so in this case, 64 Roosevelt dime was a 90% piece. In 65, we have this copper nickel clad. All right, so that's what they consider to be a transitional year in terms of the composition of these coins. So when you have this type of error, that's what it's called. So this one is a PCGS mint state 62. You can see the error attributed onto the label, which is really cool, mint error. And this is the penultimate error coin that you want to find. Keep in mind, mint state 62 on this coin. Yeah, this thing circulated a little bit before it was discovered. With all things considering, this is a coin that sold for $9,000, and definitely one to keep an eye out on. When a silver coin is in really nice shape, they kind of look like just the regular copper nickels. Sometimes someone who's not adept at identifying either or wouldn't even know the difference. But this one sold September of last year. It's a recent sale, $9,000. And these things have been progressively going up in value. 10 years ago, there were some of these that sold in that $4,000 to $5,000 range in much nicer shape, like mint state 64 and 65. And here you go. We have this 62 right here that, one hasn't sold in quite a while, and now it sold for $9,000. Okay, what's next? $10,000? We'll see. But this is the the big error coin to look for in the 65s. So, what do you guys think? Did you guys get a few takeaways from this 1965 Roosevelt dime video? A lot of great stuff to look for, okay? Always be looking at these because the first major variety is really just around the corner. It's only going to be a matter of when, not if, it will be found. It's just, again, Roosevelt dimes are not getting its true due. Okay, some of you probably agree with me on that. But it is going to be a significant find. It's going to be rare and valuable. Okay, you're going to have people that want it. I'm your host, Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Thanks again for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the bell for instant notification. As always, Coinaholics, we are discovering together every single day. So, wherever you may be, enjoy your hunt. Enjoy the hobby. And we are always collecting money. As always, it's fun. You guys take care, enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one.